Welcome to our Energy Connect studio at Gastech 2022. I'm delighted to have sitting next to me Cristian Signoretto, Global Gas and LNG Portfolio Director at ENI.
Ciao.
Thank you so much for coming down on this busy day two of Gastech.
Thanks for inviting me.
Now, how do you see the LNG market evolving in the mid but also long term?
Well,
big question.
Yeah, big question though. So let me start from one thing. So clearly, what happened to the Russia and Ukraine crisis exacerbated the situation. But if you look at the fundamentals, actually the short supply was already clear actually before the war erupted. So already, let's say by end of last year, we were seeing sign of tightening of the gas demand and supply equation. And you know why? And that's because the industry has been underinvesting for quite a long time in the new gas and LNG development. And I think this is a bit the question that we have to answer now. So in order to make sure that this situation and the outlook for the LNG business stays strong, and we need to make sure that investments are not only geared towards the mid and downstream, but also to the upstream. So I'll make you an example. I mean, I think in the last months, countries have rushed into securing new FSRUs in order to make sure that there is LNG coming into the countries. And on top of that, I think Europe has responded, but also US, in a way to the bottleneck, the grid inside each country in order to make sure that the gas can flow without any issue. But I would tell you one thing though, in order to fill those LNG plants, you need to also invest in the upstream business in order to make sure that the LNG is there and fill that regas capacity. And so I think that the industry needs to stand ready to invest, let's say, capex for the next, let's say, decade in order to develop those resources. And there is ample reserves that needs to be developed. Clearly, US is a big play, but I think there are other major play in Africa, in the Middle East, that needs to be tapped in order to make sure that the LNG arrives. And maybe let me just tell you one thing on this, because I think there is some debate around the issue of upstream capex, which is, this is not in contradiction with the renewable effort that we have to put in order to make sure that we get to net zero. At Eni, we are very committed to reach net zero by 2050. But we truly believe that in order to make sure that the equation gets squared, you need to surely accelerate the investment in the renewable side, but also make sure that you have gas and reliable LNG in the market in order to make sure that your houses stays warm and the factories are on.
Yeah, so invest in both. And that sort of ties into my next question about how you see ENI's LNG portfolio evolving in the future, or even just in the next few short-term and medium-term.
Look, we are very keen on, let's say, making sure that we put the right side of investment in the gas business. As Eni, we believe that by 2050, not only will we reach net zero, but also our production will be geared 90% to gas with the technologies to offset the emissions. And so in order to do that, we are developing our LNG portfolio. We are targeting to reach 15 million tonnes by 2025. And just to name a few of the projects that we are investing on, we recently entered in Qatar for the North Field expansion. Then we are investing important money in Indonesia in order to develop and to make sure that the Bontang facility gets, let's say, ample availability of gas to be able to export. We are investing also in Congo. We have signed recently an agreement in order to develop a 3 million ton facility there, floating facility to bring LNG into the market. We are clearly commissioning the Mozambique Coral full floating LNG as we speak. We are investing in Algeria and Egypt, two of our most important countries in which we want to develop gas to export via gas or via LNG. And so I think we are really putting our effort in order to make sure that this availability is there for Europe. But I would say for Europe maybe in the short and to medium term. But if you look at the longer term, there is a lot of substitution that we need to make in order to make sure that the pollution and the decarbonization targets are met, especially in Asia.
Yeah. So busy times ahead for you and your portfolio.
Very busy time.
Now, we're here in Milan for Gastech. So timely place, I think, to have it with the crisis that is going on. But I'd just like to hear your thoughts about how it's gone so far and what do you think of Gastech?
Well, look, I mean, clearly, I mean, it's my city, so I feel home here. But it was very, warming to have the opportunity to meet all my partners, my stakeholders, all my customers and suppliers in one place, back face to face.
Yeah.
Back, let's say, a bit relieved by the fact that we don't have to, let's say, see each other via screen. And so I think it's really a great time here.
Great. Well, I'm glad you've had a good time and hope the rest of the show goes well. And just thanks a lot, Cristian, to come down to the studio today.
Thanks, Andrew.
Great to meet you.
Bye.